Hello guys! So today I'm going to show you how to make a blend chart. Now for those of you that aren't familiar with what a blend chart is, it's basically, as it says on the tin, seeing how colours blend together. I am using my prismacolor pencils. You can use any medium that you wish and you can draw a grid, much like this one that I'm showing here. You can do this all by hand and you can have as many sections as you want. I've gone for a 12 by 12 grid. This printable is part of a set that I offer on Etsy, which is called the Colouring Companion. So it's like swatch charts, blend combinations, this blend chart, practice sheets, things like that. So for anyone that is interested, I will just pop a link to that in the video description. The first step for your blend chart is simply to pop the names of the colours in the vertical and horizontal axis, and you want to make sure that they go in the exact same order from top to bottom. And here I'm just making a note of what medium I'm using. The easiest colours to start with are just the colours in their purest form. So for the very top row of your grid, you'll have each colour laid out. Do the same for your vertical first column as well. And then where these two colours meet each other, so right now you can see I'm using orange, I have actually doubled up, so I've done 2 layers of that colour, and what that is showing me is how different the colour saturation will look if I do 2 layers of that particular colour. Okay, so now we're on to the fun stuff, which is where we start mixing these colours together. When I first started putting this chart together, I actually got myself really confused. So I started doing it one way and then I was like, oh my gosh, my head hurts, and so I then came up with a bit of a system which I will show you now. So I ended up finding that the easiest way was to take the colour that was on the vertical axis, so right now canary yellow, and fill in the entire row using that colour, which you can see me doing here. And then whichever colour is in the top row, which I've labelled dominant in this chart, but actually in the chart on my Etsy store I've labelled these axes differently to better reflect what I'm trying to do here. So yeah, I've taken that colour that is in the horizontal axis and just started layering that over the canary yellow. I did have the realisation when putting this chart together that the colour combinations would be blended together twice, so there would be duplicate blends. However, if you fill out the chart in the way that I've shown you, so you fill out an entire row of canary yellow and then you overlay whichever colour is in the very top axis, it will actually, as you go down the grid, produce slight subtleties in the duplicate blends that we're going for. So for example, if I was using poppy red and violet, there would be one square on the grid that would have poppy red as the first layer and violet as the top layer, and then the other square on the grid would be the reverse of that. So basically you will see very subtle differences in the blends. They'll be very similar, however it just is a very subtle variation depending on which colour goes on top. And so you'll see as this chart gets filled out that it kind of looks quite samey, but then all of a sudden it just kind of comes to life and it just looks so awesome. This is brilliant if you have smaller pencil sets or smaller marker sets, smaller watercolor sets, and also it's just a really beautiful chart to have as a reference next to your colorings. I won't lie, this is totally a labour of love, but it is one of the best ways to turn just 12 colours into tons of colours that you can use in your images. And also don't forget that this in itself is really therapeutic to do. So if you have an hour or two, then just grab your supplies and get stuck in, because it is so much fun and you will thank yourself for it later. You can see in this image here that I'm also using my colorless Prismacolor blend pencil to just go over each of the squares in the grid, just to really make sure that that blend is done properly. Admittedly, because I was short on time due to my baby waking up soon from his nap, my grid did start to get a little bit messy towards the end. However, you can see the overall look that we're trying to go for here, and you can just see how many gorgeous colours these 12 pencils came up with. I was actually really surprised at how beautiful some of the blends were. I really hope you found this useful, and if you have, I would really love a thumbs up. Also, if you do like the look of this blend chart, then you can get it part of my colouring companion bundle. Post any comments or questions in the comment box below and I will get back to you as soon as I can.